there have been studies that show that people die earlier when they feel like they don't have something to live for. Like just having a purpose and something to live for to keep you going literally keeps you alive. Welcome to the Kingspiration Podcast. This is the place where you'll learn how to get unstuck and gain momentum in your life and business. Each week, we tackle the real aspects of entrepreneurship, personal development, relationships, and fitness. I'm your co-host, Ethan King, from Atlanta, Georgia, USA, entrepreneur, TEDx speaker, and best-selling author of Wealth Beyond Money.
And I'm your co-host, Justin King, no relation to Ethan, from Cape Town, South Africa, entrepreneur, speaker, and business growth strategist. Our journey crosses continents and cultures, sharing wisdom and experiences to propel you forward. Welcome to Kingspiration. Let's start the conversation.
Today, Ethan and I are going to chat about retirement, and it is because Ethan is getting old. That is the reality. Ethan, you still look 24. So the reason that the idea of retirement has popped up is a Naval Ravikant quote. And his quote is, retirement is when you stop sacrificing today for an imaginary tomorrow. When today is complete in and of itself, you're retired. Yeah, man, that brings up so many thoughts. I think and that's why we wanted to chat through it, is that the concept of retirement means something different to so many people. I think to some, it's the idea of working to the age of 55, 60, 65, putting your pen down, saying, that's it, I am retired, and heading off on pension. For others, retirement is exiting a business at 35 for a few $1 million and kicking back, heading to the beach and saying, that's it, I am retiring for the rest of my life. And then what Naval is saying here is when you are content with the day you've just had, what is there to retire from, is essentially what he is saying in that quote. Is that not retirement in itself? When today is complete in and of itself, you're retired. And there's something to that. There's something to just finding content within how we have ended a day and saying, is that not the life that I'm wanting to live in? Am I not feeling like I am retired at this point? Or am I mistaking what he's saying? Do you think, Ethan?
I think you're understanding what he's saying. I think we have to look at it through our own individual lens. And for me, I agree with his statement, but honestly, I don't want that for myself. And here's the reason why. And it's kind of funny because when I think about retirement, I have to tell you, I remember when I was in my 20s and we hired our first financial planner to handle our life insurance and all this stuff and our investments. And first thing he said to me was, well, when do you want to retire? And I said, I want to retire at 45. And he just kind of chuckled. And he didn't want to, he was very polite about it. He didn't want to burst my bubble, but he's basically like, dude, you're not going to retire at 45. Come on, it doesn't make any sense. And here I am now, I'm past 45, and I have so much energy. Like, I just want to keep going and keep building new things, which I'm doing. And I don't want to retire. And what I think, two things is, like, one, I believe that when you retire, when you truly, truly retire, like this quote is talking about, when today is complete in and of itself, I just think about some people who just play golf, and that's all they have to think about is their golf game for the day. There are no long-term projects. Right now, sometimes when I have trouble sleeping, it's because I'm thinking about something I need to do the next day, or a week, or a deadline that's looming a week later or a month later, or, it has to do with those future plans. But if you're truly retired, you're not thinking about it. It doesn't matter. Each day is complete. You're just having fun. You might be on vacation, traveling somewhere, or playing golf, but playing with your grandkids, but it doesn't matter because each day is complete. That's a fun life to live for me for a short period of time. But I feel like, I don't know, it's a little bit morbid, but I feel like when I get to the point where I'm ready for each day to be like that, where I don't have projects to keep me going, then I'm ready to just die at that point. And I think that there have been studies that show that people die earlier when they feel like they don't have something to live for. Like just having a purpose and something to live for to keep you going literally keeps you alive. So I think maybe there's a bit of fear there on my end for always wanting something to keep me alive.
You're definitely bringing in a little bit of Viktor Frankl in there in your thought process, a man's search for meaning. But so are you saying that you disagree with the first part of that quote, which is retirement is when you stop sacrificing today for an imaginary tomorrow? Are you thinking that? Because I suppose, yeah, if we're going to go deep into the quote, what does sacrificing today necessarily mean? Does it mean getting up and going to work even if it's not what you feel like doing, when you feel like rather going fishing with your mates? Is that sacrificing today? And the reason I'm presuming you're saying an imaginary tomorrow is you don't know if you'll get there. You don't know if you'll ever have the financial means, potentially, around what's in your mind. And you don't know if you could be hit by, I mean, it's very morbid, you could be hit by a car tomorrow as well. So he's speaking about then finding that contentment in today, but not necessarily, I don't want to say not settling, still being driven by something. I actually think where I go to with retirement is that it's a romantic notion. I think very often when you are in the thick of it, when you're in the thick of the stress, you got a family you need to provide, you're like, geez, I can't handle this. All I want to do is retire. I think of my father, who has literally just turned 72 years old. The man is nice and fit, which certainly helps. But the idea of retirement when you get to that age is the furthest thing actually on your mind. Like, he loves his work, and it's one of the things that keeps him young. And my brother and I are always the ones being like, hey, Dad, when you're just going to put your feet up and chill? And he's like, if I put my feet up and chill, what for? What am I going to keep myself busy doing? And so that's the thing, I think. And if we go to sport, if we think about the in the context of sportsmen, depending on the sport, obviously, but let's talk about football, basketball, late 30s, generally where most people are going to, well, mid to late 30s are where they're going to need to hang up their boots. They're going to have to retire, but they don't necessarily retire from life. People still need a purpose and something to do thereafter. And I think that's what you're speaking about. So you might, you may retire from a season in your life, but there'll always be something else that is going to keep you driven and busy and engaged and hopefully bringing value to the people around you.
Exactly. Yeah, I think people use the word differently, but this definition from Naval is about retiring from life. That's the way I interpret it. Yeah, it's funny. There's this guy on the radio here. I don't know if you've heard of Clark Howard. He teaches about finance management and how to get good deals on things. He's a radio personality, and I'm a fan of his. Well, I used to listen to his stuff back in the day, back in my 20s. And his whole story that he would tell at the beginning when his show came on is, I retired from corporate America at age 31, and now I'm financially free, blah, blah, blah. And I used to think to myself, well, you're not retired. You're at work right now. You're on the radio. You're not really retired. You just left your job. So people can kind of use that word pretty loosely. I mean, I could say I retired at, I left my job at age 24. I've been an entrepreneur now for over 20 years. So I'm retired, but I'm far from retired. Like I work really hard. So I think the key is, and you hit on this, it's like having enjoyment in your work, then it doesn't feel like work. That can be one form of retirement. And that's the type of retirement that I want to have, where I still have purpose. I still have projects. I'm still doing things, but it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like a chore. And then also work being completely optional is another definition of retirement that I aspire for, where if I don't want to work today, I don't have to. If I don't want to work for a month, I don't have to, but I can work. And when I do work, it is purposeful and enjoyable work for me. That's the type of retirement, if I use that word, that I want to have.
I love that. I think that's a great definition. I mean, it's the freedom of choice and the abundance to do so. I know you love the word abundance, and you've spoken about it in Wealth Beyond Money. But yeah, freedom of choice and the abundance to do so. That to me would be retirement. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that was a good little journey. Got my mind ticking over there quite a bit. Thanks for the chat.
That's a wrap for today's episode of Kingspiration. We hope this conversation sparked insights to ignite action in your life and business.
We're on this journey together, sharing our challenges and successes to help all of us take the next step towards building momentum and ultimately reaching our goals.
If you found value in today's episode, please share it with someone else who might benefit and leave us a 5-star review.
And remember to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on our weekly conversations. Until next time, keep rolling, keep growing, and keep being inspired.